Gorilla versus crocodile. Who wins a fight? Imagine a face-off between two of nature's heavyweights. A mighty gorilla and a giant crocodile. What would happen if the king of the jungle met the king of the swamp? Could the strong, intelligent ape hold its own against an ancient, armored reptile? Or would the crocodile's powerful jaws make it an easy victory? These questions might sound like something out of a wild adventure story. In real life, gorillas and crocodiles rarely meet. One rules the forests, the other lurks in rivers. But it's fun to wonder who would win a fight. What do they look like? Gorillas are massive, muscular apes with shaggy, dark fur covering most of their bodies. A full-grown male gorilla has long, powerful arms, a broad chest, and a bones, brawly build that can weigh up to 485 pounds, 220 kilograms or more. When standing upright, a male gorilla is about as tall as a person, around 5 to 6 feet, 1.5 to 1.8 meters. They have a crest on top of their head, which anchors strong jaw muscles. Those jaws hide huge canine teeth, around 2 inches, 5 centimeters long, that gorillas mainly use to show dominance or chew tough plants, not to eat meat. With their sheer size and proud stance, gorillas certainly look like gentle giants. But they can appear pretty intimidating when they beat their chests and roar. Crocodiles, on the other hand, look like something from the age of dinosaurs. And Nile Crocodile has a long armored body covered in hard, scaly skin that acts like a suit of armor. They are much longer than gorillas, often 10 to 16 feet, 3 to 5 meters long from nose to tail. Large adult crocodiles can weigh 1,100 to 1,540 pounds, 500 to 700 kilograms. Crocodiles are low to the ground with short, stubby legs and a powerful tail. Their most fearsome feature is the huge snout filled with sharp teeth, about 60 to 70 teeth lining jaws that seem to grin. Each tooth can be up to 4 in 10 centimeters long in a big croc, with bulging green eyes on top of their head and nostrils that stick out. A crocodile can peek above water while the rest of its body hides below. Where do they live? Gorillas and crocodiles might share the same continent, Africa, but they live in totally different worlds. Gorillas are landlubbers that make their homes in lush tropical forests and mountain jungles. For example, mountain gorillas live high in misty mountain forests, while land gorillas roam thick rainforests and swampy forests in Central Africa. They spend most of their time on the ground or in the trees, trekking through dense vegetation in family groups. Crocodiles, by contrast, are masters of the water. The Nile crocodile lives in rivers, lakes, and marshes across sub-Saharan Africa. Picture a murky river in the savannah or a watering hole. That's where crocodiles feel at home. They thrive in warm climates and spend a huge chunk of time partially submerged in water to stay cool and hidden. Crocs often bask in the sun on a riverbank or float with just their eyes and nostrils above water, waiting for prey. Because gorillas stick to forests and crocodiles stick to waterways, their paths don't usually cross. A gorilla would have to wander to a riverbank for a drink to encounter a crocodile. What do they eat, and how do they hunt? Despite their scary fangs, gorillas are mostly gentle vegetarians. A gorilla's menu is full of plants, leaves, fruits, stems, bamboo shoots, and, occasionally, some tasty insects or grubs. An adult gorilla can munch on tens of pounds of vegetation in a day. They use their strong jaws and teeth to chew tough stalks and bark. In fact, a gorilla's bite force is super strong, about 1,300 psi, one of the strongest bite forces among mammals. Gorillas don't hunt other animals. They might grab the odd insect or lizard if available, but they're not predators. Crocodiles, in contrast, are meat eaters through and through. They are apex predators. A crocodile will eat pretty much any animal it can catch at the water's edge. Fish, birds, turtles, antelope, zebras, buffalo. If it comes to drink water, it's on the croc's menu. Crocodiles have a very sneaky hunting style. They lie totally still in the water, with just their eyes peeking out, often for hours, waiting for an unlucky animal to come close. Then, in a lightning-fast lunge, the croc explodes from the water. It uses its powerful jaws like a trap, with possibly the strongest bite in the animal kingdom. Isle crocodile's bite can be around 5,000 psi. Strengths and skills. When we compare the weapons and abilities of a gorilla and a crocodile, the differences are striking. Gorillas are ridiculously strong, often said to be several times stronger than a grown human. A large male can lift something close to the weight of a small car, thanks to its long arms, massive shoulders, and incredible strength. Upper body power. In a tussle, a gorilla could deliver bone-crushing slaps, powerful grabs, or even hurl heavy objects like branches or rocks. Their grip is unbelievably strong, and their bite force, around 1,300 psi, would certainly injure an opponent if they managed to clamp down. On top of that, gorillas can run at speeds of up to 20 to 25 miles per hour, 32 to 40 kilometers per hour, in short bursts, faster than most people could ever hope to sprint. Still, they lack sharp claws or natural hunting instincts, relying instead on bluffing displays like chest beating and roaring to scare enemies with brute strength as their backup plan. Crocodiles, by contrast, come equipped with one of nature's deadliest sets of jaws. The bite force of a large croc is off the charts, easily strong enough to snap bones, and their mouths are lined with dozens of teeth, designed to grip like hooks. Once they latch on, they unleash their infamous death roll, spinning violently to tear apart or drown their prey. Physically, a crocodile looks like a low-profiled tank, its body covered in rugged scales and bony plates that act like natural armor. This makes them incredibly hard to injure. Their powerful tails propel them swiftly through water and can also be used as heavy weapons on land. While they aren't predators, built for speed on solid ground, they can lunge with surprising quickness over short distances and can swim at impressive speeds when submerged. Unlike gorillas, crocodiles aren't flexible fighters. They rely almost entirely on ambush, bite, and roll. It's a simple tactic, but it has been perfected over millions of years. When it comes to senses and intelligence, gorillas have the edge. They're smart, capable of using tools, solving problems, and even adapting their environment for defense. They have keen eyesight and decent smell and hearing, which means in a fight they could think their way out of trouble or even use objects around them as weapons. Crocodiles, on the other hand, have much simpler brains, but compensate with excellent night vision and special sensors that detect movement in water. That makes them silent and effective hunters in their own environment, even if they aren't strategists. As for defense, gorillas rely heavily on intimidation. A towering silverback pounding its chest can be enough to make leopards or other predators back off. They also stick together in groups, which provides extra protection. Their muscular build, thick skin, and surprising agility give them a great status protection. Chance to dodge or fight back if pressed. Crocodiles, however, are practically built for defense. Their armor-like skin makes them incredibly difficult to wound, and in water, they hold all the cards. If attacked, a crocodile can simply slip beneath the surface and vanish, ready to launch a counterattack from below. So who would win in a fight between a gorilla and a crocodile? Since crocs spend most of their time near water, imagine a thirsty gorilla troop approaching a river for a drink on a hot day, and a giant Nile crocodile is lurking under the surface. Suddenly, the croc launches at the closest gorilla, which in this unlucky scenario is our big male silverback. Now it's one-on-one, gorilla versus crocodile. If the fight happens in or near water, the crocodile has a huge advantage. Crocodiles are ambush experts. With one surprise snap of its powerful jaws, a croc can grab a gorilla by the arm or leg and pull it towards the water. The gorilla, despite its strength, would then be in serious trouble. Once that croc drags it into deep water, it's almost game over. Gorillas aren't good swimmers, and a croc would start its vicious death roll. A single bite and roll could break the gorilla's bones or tear off a limb. The gorilla's strength won't help much underwater. It can't punch effectively while drowning. In this scenario, sadly for gorilla fans, the crocodile would win easily. But what if the fight happens on land, say on the riverbank or an open area? This becomes a more interesting matchup. On land, the gorilla isn't at risk of drowning and can use its agility. The gorilla could try to dodge the crocodile's initial lunge. Crocs are fast in short bursts, but they can't turn or chase as easily on land. The gorilla might use its speed to get behind the croc or avoid that gaping mouth. Picture the gorilla baring its teeth and pounding the ground, even throwing a rock or branch at the crocodile, trying to intimidate the reptile. Gorillas have been known to bluff charge to scare off threats, and a sensible crocodile might actually hesitate if it perceives the gorilla as too large or energetic to tackle. If the gorilla manages to avoid being bitten in the first moments, it could even attack the croc from above or behind, pounding on the crocodile's back with those powerful arms. Remember, a gorilla's arm strike can be extremely forceful, possibly enough to daze the croc or injure softer parts. The gorilla might aim for the crocodile's relatively weaker spots, like its sides or belly, or try to pry at the croc's jaws. However, even on land, this fight is very dangerous for the gorilla. The crocodile only needs one good bite. If at any point the croc whips its head around and bites the gorilla's leg or arm, it could be devastating. A heavy crocodile could also use its weight. If the gorilla got too close to those jaws, the croc might latch on and perform a modified death roll right on the spot, potentially breaking the gorilla's limb. The gorilla has to basically not get caught at all costs. The crocodile's thick hide also means that the gorilla's punches might not do fatal damage quickly. The fight could be drawn out with a gorilla trying to land blows and the croc snapping its jaws. Threateningly, who is likely to win? Most wildlife experts would bet on the crocodile in the majority of encounters. The croc's offensive weapons are just so lethal that one mistake by the gorilla means defeat. In fact, in a realistic scenario, the fight would probably start at the water, where the croc is strongest, making the gorilla's odds very poor. On land, a gorilla has a better fighting chance. It might escape, or even scare off a smaller crocodile. But against a full-size giant crocodile, it's still an uphill battle. The gorilla could potentially win if it managed to land a lucky blow to a sensitive spot, or if it outmaneuvered the croc long enough to make the reptile retreat. Gorillas are brave and will defend themselves fiercely, but they are not used to taking down large predators. In our hypothetical matchup, the crocodile is the likely winner due to its sheer brutality and one-track killing method. A single chomp from those monster jaws can end the fight in seconds. The gorilla's strength is incredible, but it's not a trained predator, whereas a crocodile is basically a perfect predator machine.